So I have two questions, one for you as a parent and the second one as a humanitarian. The first, as a parent, the poem that was selected for the film about children being arrows and we as parents are bows, and we should provide them stability and love, not to impose our ideas and thoughts on them. Too often, parents actually impose ideas on their kids, and then their kids become alienated, and then we complain about their alienation. So how do you as a parent get the lessons from the poetry of Kahlil Gibran in terms of dealing with youth alienation?
I think that personally, I really try to let my daughter guide her, but try to learn from her and try to push her to find out who she is instead of just telling her who I want her to be. I think the film does that. I think the film, in a very safe way, it's a vehicle for children and for teenagers, which is important, to be inspired, to think about life and be grateful for life, but in their own terms. It provides a place, we go through the poems, and it's such a shock because we break from the style. We have a consistent style for the main story. But the way we break every single time, it unstabilizes the audience and forces them to be free. And then they take a journey, but the journey is inside themselves. Right. And this poetry, it's the way he wrote it, it's in a way that poetry in general, different lines are going to touch different people. And here we're doing it with lines, with words, and with images, and with music. So it's a very private moment, this moment. It's not a collective people all going through something that it's already been digested for them, telling them what to think. It's a moment where we break from that stability, and everybody has a very intimate relationship with what's going on. So it inspires them.
It's done beautifully.
To look inside themselves and find their own soul and spirit and what's their hunger.
And that leads me to my second last question. As a humanitarian, what do you say about the other poem that was selected about good and evil? That good is tortured by its thirst and hunger that produces evil in people. In other words, our denial of good to others is what produces evil. That evil is created, or despair is created, by eating in dark caves and drinking in dead waters. So it's despair. How do we deal with humanitarianism, especially in how the people of the Middle East and South Asia are dehumanized?
First of all, the line that we say before we go into the poem, I'm very proud of, which is, don't be so fast to judge what's good and evil. And this is the first important step to walk into that poem. I think the most important part of the poem is that there is good in every single one of us. And there is hope for every single one of us to arrive into a place that is a place where we love life and we can coexist with others in a peaceful way. Just people take different paths to get to that place. And it's in the respect of the different paths that it's the hope. And it's in the judgment where the lack of possibility begins. Because it doesn't give opportunity for change and to arrive to this place. Mm-hmm. I think that there is a lot of preconceived judgment especially a lot in America. And it's like blindfolded. And it's also the problem of not letting people think, but just telling them what they're supposed to think. And we have to fight for our independence of thought so we can have the courage to see for ourselves beyond stigma, beyond facades, beyond what somebody else thought of someone, beyond one person does something and then we judge the rest of anybody that is similar for that one person. And we jump into conclusions and we try to see always the bad. And I think this is a very big problem in America. And I hope that the film inspires people to look deeper, to take the courage to look for themselves, and to find the book, the movie talks about the things of life that we all share and that bind us together. Maybe this is why the book has sold more than 120 million copies around the world, right, uniting all religions, all creeds, and many different generations. It was written by an Arab writer. This is important for me also, for people to be reminded. The reason why we all come together is because in all this poetry, there's always a line or two that when you hear it, you feel like it's familiar, but you don't know where you heard it before. That's not your brain or your programming recognizing that line. That is your soul recognizing the truth. And this is why it was so important for me to make this film.
Well, thank you for doing it. It shows the beauty of your heart and your soul, and it shows us that today's outcasts are tomorrow's heroes by looking from within.
They tell me, is this film for children? Absolutely. Is it for all kinds of children? I said, no, it's only for the ones that are going to change the world.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.